All right, guys, I want to introduce you to our new project car, Big Bertha. So Big Bertha is a quality 1976 Ford Thunderbird with massive big block Ford power. And what kind of power does it have? 202 horsepower. So they went ahead back in those days. It was the oil crisis and all that. They killed compression. They restricted the intake. They restricted the exhaust. They made it terrible. But this car is mint. So go ahead and take a loop around this car. You'll see it's been repainted before. It's got nice, clean trim. This thing has been garage kept by the same owner for 47 years. It needs a new vinyl top, but overall, it's got 67,000 miles on it. It's got an engine with only 30,000 miles on it, allegedly. I bet you it's a Craigslist rebuild. But you can see the body of this thing is mint. The lights work. It's a factory air conditioning car. It's a factory power brakes car. It's a factory power steering car. It's got heat. It's got the lap of luxury inside of this thing. So if you go ahead and look at this interior, besides a mirror that decided it was a quitter, it looks like it's never been touched before. I mean, can you even tell that someone drove this thing 60,000 miles? It's got great shag carpet. It's got solid floors that you can't even stick your feet through like the Flintstones. It's got these seats that just barely even have any cat hair on them. And it's got seat belts that retract. And then I'm gonna show you guys, come on in. I wanna show you the best part of this car. Right here, ready? You ready for it? It's got a working horn. All right, let's go to the engine bay. So when you're riding around in luxury, you can do it with a big block Ford power. There we go. So you'll see in here, it's got the leakiest carburetor on the market, but power steering, air conditioning, factory cruise control. I mean, this is 1976, you guys. And you can tell when they were spray painting this engine to pretend to rebuild it, they didn't care about masking out shit. I mean, we got blue hoses, we got blue pulleys, we got blue everything. I mean, it's just lucky we don't have a blue carburetor, but overall, this car is together. And we're gonna see what we have to do to get this thing back on the road. So one of the main reasons that this car is not running, it's not running well, is this carburetor right here is junk. It basically, if you look at the engine itself, you'll see a bunch of muck all over the place. What that is dirt and gasoline and oil. This had a crazy amount of leaks on the bulls, on their accelerator pump and everything. So this carburetor is basically junk. What we're gonna go ahead and do is, we were gonna get rid of the EGR, but the intake has a provision right here. I'll show you. It's got a provision right here to where it lets exhaust fumes through. So the only way we can get rid of the EGR is if we replace the intake or if we make a plate to block that off. But for now, we're gonna put this plate back on. We're gonna put on the same old crusty gasket that's covering half of the intake port, which is great. And then we can go ahead and take this and pop that right on there and go ahead and start it up.
We just got done installing the first thing on the Thunderbird. We went in and we pulled off this original piece of junk, we assume is original. This carburetor was leaking crazy fuel out of there, so we went in, threw the new carburetor on there. This is a Performance Holly carburetor, and then we replaced the fuel line, got rid of that fuel leak, and started up right away. One step closer to being back on the road.
Look at this. You can barely hear it, but there's a 460 cubic inch V8 running. All it took was us swapping out a carburetor. It's horribly tuned at the moment, but we're gonna try to test drive this thing around and see if we can get it to move under its own power for the first time in a long time. And I'm not gonna sit in the seat with a screwdriver in my pocket. It's hot in here. So I want to show you guys, just listen, or I guess I want you guys to hear how quiet this 460 cubic inch V8 car is. I mean, and we're just riding in luxury right now. Just wait till you see how much get up and go this thing has. None. The carburetor actually feels halfway decent right now. I don't know if there's any garbage right behind me that I'm gonna hit. Look at that, the transmission shifts well. Besides the rubbing brakes, you hear that?
Yeah.
Definitely needs some brake work, but look at the brakes actually stop halfway decent. Turns on a dime, and then also, get ready for this. Have you ever had something so beautiful happen? The radio works, the horn works. I bet you if we tried hard enough, this thing would drive down to Florida right now. 8 miles a gallon and all.
I feel like this is the type of car you would see in Florida.
An old man would be driving it.
And he'd have a great time doing it.
He would too. Oh, look at the puppy right in front of us. I can't see shit backing up, but I need you to help me not hit anything. But look at that window working. So with a simple swap of the carburetor, we were able to make it so this car actually would run and you can actually drive it a touch, but it still runs like absolute shit and doesn't have any power. So there's a few upgrades that we decided we're gonna do on this thing. One is take that carburetor we put on and hop it up. We wanna make it so that way the squirter squirts more fuel and more fuel faster. So we're gonna upgrade the squirter size to 0.042, and then we're gonna do a 50 cc instead of a 30 cc little jet in there. After that, we decided, why not give this intake a little bit more? You know, if we're gonna put a new carburetor on it, we might as well get rid of EGR and all that. So we're gonna put a new 4-barrel intake on this thing. And then why stop there? We're gonna do a full new ignition system. We're gonna update the fuel system. And then just for pretty's sake, we're gonna put new valve covers, new valve cover gaskets on this thing. So let's get into this motor. It's a pretty untouched engine. There really hasn't been much done to this car. So I'm hoping that that means that we won't have any issues in pulling this thing apart. Allegedly, it was rebuilt 30,000 miles ago. But my guess, based on the overspray of spray paint all over this stuff, is it was a Craigslist rebuild. I'm gonna kind of start out by just getting stuff out of the way. I'm noticing there's a lot of oil on the exhaust, and it looks like it's leaking out of the back of the valve covers. So it is good that we're gonna do those because they're junk. Somebody's been in here messing with stuff before because there's zip ties that are white zip ties, and I don't think that they would have used those from the factory. We're gonna be replacing this entire distributor that was spray painted during the Craigslist rebuild. But one thing is, if you're not fully trying to redo your timing, when you open up the distributor, what you wanna do is take note of where the rotor is facing. You see how it's facing this way? I'll show you guys. You'll see where it's pointing. Remember that, it looks like it's pointing at the corner of the carburetor. So when we get this thing fully put back together, we want that rotor, once the distributor is fully seated in, to be facing right at the corner of this carburetor once it's installed. And that'll tell us that the timing is almost the same as it was before. Then from that point, we can use a timing gun and actually make sure that it's perfect. But that gets you close enough. And this right here, junk. I'm gonna pull off these valve covers because I'm curious what the inside of the motor looks like. See if everything looks real clean, like it's been oil changed a lot, or if it looks real dirty, like it hasn't been taken care of. If you're ever taking off big block valve covers, it's actually a 7/16 bolt treatment. Something else cool about this car is, like, we're finding that it looks like pretty much everything works, from the radio, the air. Now the AC needs to be charged, but the air does turn on. Oh, there we go. All right. other. I'll tell you, at one point this was definitely not taken care of, and they scraped out a ton of gunk. Look in there. Look at how dirty. Hunter, take a peek at this. Look at how filthy. You can tell at one point someone was in here. And they were just.
It was rebuilt.
When they rebuilt it, apparently they just scraped out all the mud. So this car allegedly only has 67,000 miles on it. And they said 30,000 miles ago the engine got rebuilt. So that's saying that it had to get rebuilt at 37,000 miles, which makes me believe that it probably never had an oil change before 37,000 miles. Look here, you'll see it's kind of dirty, but overall there's no buildup of sludge, which makes me feel like the oil wasn't changed enough, but it was occasionally changed. I'm working on getting the distributor out, but you can tell that it's probably never been removed before. It's pretty seized. I got the wiring removed, and I'm just kind of putting all the wiring stuff to the side. Now, granted, this is the wiring for the ignition coil, and the ignition coil is still sitting there. We bought a new hopped up ignition coil, but let's see if we can get out this distributor. Oh God, I might have to hit it with a little bit of force. Oh. All right, so I got it to move now, so it's pretty stuck. Let's see if we can. Oh God. Oh, there we go. Now it's moving. There we go. Just had to break it free. This is one more piece that's going to be replaced. It did work, but that doesn't mean it worked well. Definitely had a misfire on this engine, and I think this is one way that we can get closer to fixing that. At this point, I got the radiator hose off. I've drained most of the coolant. Now I think I'm at a point where I can start to unbolt the actual intake itself. Might have to take off the carburetor first. I was gonna take the carburetor off of the intake and then but it looks like it may be in the way. So I'm getting all these bolts out of the intake. And one of them, for some reason, I think the threads are either stripped out or something because it was just loose in the block. Hunter, you think that's going to be a problem later?
No, just tightened up and then figure out what we're going to do about that.
Hunter, hopefully you're okay with the fact that I left your windows open. Here's what we're dealing with. By cleaning out the inside of your car. Doing what I should have probably done at the beginning. I'm taking off the carburetor. I'm finding that I think it's in the way for intake bolts. I thought maybe I'd just take everything off together as one piece. If you look right here, you'll see that's the old EGR setup. We're doing a big part of this just to delete that EGR, so that way there's no more exhaust gas going into the engine. Because you can't burn exhaust gas. It's for emissions, not for power. Time to get this EGR removed. A lot of these hoses are just sitting in here. Get the EGR removed, you'll see here. Basically, it just shoots through this, exhaust fumes back into the engine through this port to take up space in the cylinder so you don't have to, it basically it increases compression while decreasing displacement to try to make the car more efficient. Clearly it doesn't work that well because these things from the factory got 11 miles per gallon on the highway. On the very back of the engine, there's like a ton of little vacuum connections that I'm working on getting removed. We'll have to hook up a bunch of vacuum connections later, but that's later's problem. So most everything is disconnected. I'm just curious, there's a lot of these nuts on here. I think I might go through and just take those off because they must be on there for some reason. And the intake's not moving right now, which leads me to believe that it could be because of those nuts. On nuts. Now, a little bit about these cars. Now, this year they only offered one option for the engine. That was the big block Ford. So you couldn't go wrong with this. It looks like in the later years they switched to where you could have this huge car and you could get a small block in it, which had to be a complete dog. I mean, I would imagine even this big block, since it's kind of like the, I don't want to call it the economy version, is probably kind of a dog. I'm hoping I should be able to just pry this intake off. Oh, maybe not. I didn't really have a good spot to pry from. Maybe if I hit it a couple times. Oh, looks like I may have done it. I'm gonna assume that this is gonna be pretty fucking heavy. Oh yeah, it's all cast iron. Gosh dang it. Oh God. Oh Jesus. That is heavy. This thing's gotta be 45 pounds. Oh. That's what the inside of the engine looks like under there. That actually is a newer gasket, it looks like. It's got some oil that's leaked on it or gas or something. But overall, that looks pretty good. Time to get this area cleaned up and all nice. After giving every last little bit of might to get this cast iron piece of shit off of the engine, you can see I have the brand new aluminum here. It's got to be less than half the weight, if I had to guess.
This engine may have been rebuilt a little bit.
There we go. You grab this. That's it.
Put the edge on it. There you go. Now let's.
I think I cut the hose too long. All right. So Hunter had a good idea of feeding this on, and then lowering. Oh, that was genius. You want to look up the torque specs for this?
You know, I love using a torque wrench on intakes. See, you using that little DeWalt set makes me miss mine.
Talk to the camera about what happened to the DeWalt set.
I think we've talked to them enough about what happened to my DeWalt set. I don't like reliving it.
Yeah, that was tough.
They gave away my tools for a piece of shit truck that we ended up just hating.
So Hunter just decided to hit black ice. What happened?
Out of nowhere, truck just starts sliding. I mean, we already know the brakes aren't green on this, so I try and lock up the brakes. I'm keeping it going, and thing just turns around and goes backwards. Go see how close we are to this tree.
Oh, look at, yeah, it's the root that stopped you. All right, so we're gonna start with 15 foot-pounds and work our way up to 26.
1, 2, 14, 15, 16. Oh, that little scare that he just had right there. I've been there. All right, that is torqued on. All right, intake is on. We are one step closer to this being
Done.
Back to road ready.
So this is the new Holley carburetor that we bought for this car. The old one was junk. It leaked out of every orifice, didn't run well, backfired, all sorts of stuff. Well, this new Holley carb, what I had to do since going in a big block car is for this accelerator pump, I upgraded it from a 30cc pump to a 50cc pump. Because with big block power, you need more gas when you need it. The other thing is, this has what's called a squirter. You'll see in there, right in there is a squirter. And from the factory, it came with like a .028 squirter. What I went ahead and did is I used the old interwebs to figure out what the best size squirter would be for this carburetor with that engine. And they said a .042. So long story short, when We just swapped out the carburetor on this car and just seeing how it would work, and it ran better. It would start, but it wouldn't run great under throttle. That's because it would get lean for a second and you'd have a pop. You'd have a lean pop is what they called it. So essentially the idea of that squirter with that accelerator pump is when you're waiting for the secondaries to open, you get a little extra shot of fuel so that way the engine can roar to life. So we're gonna go ahead and get this reinstalled on the car now with the new intake manifold, which no longer has EGR. And between this, the new intake, the new spark plugs, the new spark plug wires and all that, you're gonna have a beast of an engine. Well, now that we have, you know, the new intake, we got a new distributor in there. You'll see I have it pointed in the same direction that the old one was, so that way hopefully we don't have to do a whole lot of work with timing it. But the next step is I bought new spark plugs. Now these spark plugs have been in the car probably forever, and they're probably old junk. Plus also when we take them out, we'll see what kind of condition it was firing in. So I'm gonna get a couple of these removed and we can go ahead and take a peek at them. Now technically this car ran with these spark plugs in place, but if you remember, it did have a misfire, and there's a chance that that misfire could be caused by one of these spark plugs or spark plug wires being shot. If you look here, the only thing is that looks pretty fouled. There's a lot of carbon on it, which just means that, well, one, it's old and it was probably running a little rich at some point. Which, this carburetor was all jacked up with how it was tuned because it had a leaking accelerator pump. So I'm sure it's just ran like crap for a long time. Well, also it sat for 10 years. All right. So one thing I noticed is some of these spark plugs are harder to get to than others. Look at the tops of these. It has two different types of spark plugs. At some point in this car's life, somebody tried to do a tune-up on this thing and gave up after a few spark plugs. I think total there's 4, and at times it sounded like this car was running on about 4 cylinders. So there's a chance that it was only running on the ones with the new plugs. All these overall, if you look, they're actually 2 different depths as well. This car had the most mismatched set of plugs. It's a miracle that it ran. I mean, we're finding all kinds of different things with this car, but that's one thing that I'm happy that we didn't skip doing. So let's get some new spark plugs put in this. We bought some new, like actual performance style. They're like I think it's like an NGK spark plug. It's like a racing plug. Should be a lot better, a lot hotter, and be good for firing off this engine.
Definitely know that it was a Craigslist rebuild now.
It was Craigslist rebuild. Here, I'll actually show you. Right here, we bought, hello. We bought, what did I say, NGK? NGK, V-Power, yes. So these should come pre-gapped, so I'm just gonna ignore the fact that you have to gap them. We can take a look at these in comparison. Look at these, nice, shiny, brand new, similar style to the one set, and these are actually confirmed to be the correct ones for this car. So let's get these put in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get all these finger tight in, and I'm gonna go around and I'll actually tighten up all the plugs. So I like to get all of these hand threaded in first before I use a wrench. If you were to cross thread this, you're basically ruining a cylinder head, which is worst case scenario. One item that's normally a good item to replace, even if they look okay, is all your hoses and belts. So what I'm doing is, as I get to a certain spot and it's a good time where I can replace it, I'm gonna replace it. So these ones look like they were in decent shape, but you never know. I mean, I don't know if these things got replaced when it got Craigslist rebuilt. I'm guessing not because they're covered in spray paint. But I'm gonna go ahead and replace them no matter what. And eventually we'll probably do all the hoses and all the belts. But for today, we're just gonna do the ones we're accessing. So I've done both the ones that touch the intake. They're like little bypass hoses essentially.
Pump, hold. And with the trickle coming out.
So right here you can see we have these nice new shined up valve covers. Essentially what we did is we didn't want to put back on the valve covers looking all ugly and gross because we have this brand new intake, we have this brand new distributor, new spark plug wires, spark plugs, carburetor, new intake sitting on top of the carburetor, so why put on crusty old valve covers? So here we go. We're getting these shined up, put on. It's gonna really just help dress up the top of the engine. We also went ahead and fixed a few different vacuum leaks that we found. There was a couple open spots back here. We have one more right here, but that actually connects to a hose. The idea behind this is we want to get rid of all the vacuum leaks because that's another thing that's going to make the car run worse. And then this goes to the transmission actually. Hopefully we'll be able to bolt that onto the carburetor and make it so our kickdown works once again. So that way I lose the risk of dropping something in the engine. I'll put the carburetor on. You look at that. The top half of this engine is starting to look super, super good. God dang. So what I just found is the see-through ports that go on the carburetor right here. The one broke off. So I'm gonna have to pull off this bowl. When I pull off this bowl, I'm gonna have to punch that out and then put one of the non-see-through ones back in. Dang it, that sucks. So one other very cool feature that my goal is to keep on this car, I don't know if it worked, I didn't test it before, but is it had, what's the word? Cruise control. So this car had cruise control from the factory, which is amazing, especially thinking the era. Now, the thing about the cruise control on these systems is they would actually run on vacuum. So it has this vacuum canister right here that I'm holding that then will hold the throttle in place. And I believe what it does is it just tries to hold the vacuum pressure to maintain the speed. Because if it holds the vacuum pressure, I would imagine that means that it's holding the engine RPM, speed, blah, blah, blah. I've always been a 60s era car guy. But now seeing all these luxurious 70s big body, big block cars, it could almost make you into the 70s. It's got two bolts on the top, one bolt on the back. So since this car has such an old fuel system, it's very important to put on like a clear, I guess you call it, fuel. There's a lot of mosquitoes in here and it's the middle of the day. A clear fuel filter. So since this has some old existing system, we don't know how much sediment, how much rust, how much junk is in there. But since I have this clear fuel filter that's actually the right size, before that little dinky one we had put on just for temporary was for a lawnmower. But this one is for a car. And it's brand new. So now we'll be able to watch in here, see the quality of fuel going into the carburetor, and this will make sure that it doesn't get all gummed up. A lot of times these old engines will have some blow by, so it's important to put on a PCV system because that'll create crank pressure, like it'll pull it out of the crankcase. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we have one of those hooked up to this engine. Also, it'll plug a huge vacuum leak in the back half. You'll see here, I got the distributor in. I got all the spark plug wires installed. Sorry you guys didn't get to see the install process because I don't know what the firing order is, so I had to look it up on the interwebs. But that is in the car now. My next step is I have to go ahead and install the coolant hose. So that right here, you'll see here's the thermostat right here. Hunter just went and picked up a new gasket with Dave. So they got that. I'm gonna get that bolted on. That'd be the one ugly piece on the top of this engine. And we'll get that hooked up to the radiator. Once the radiator's hooked up, I can actually fill this thing up with fluid, give it a start, and we can see what's gonna happen. Well, so just ignore the yelling and knocking in the background. What we're doing here is, so the old bracket that used to house the wires for the old ignition coil is all kinds of broken. The wires are messed up, the plastic is messed up. So what we're doing is we're just gonna take it out of the equation and we're gonna hook it up to this new one, but just with a regular connector. So I think I pretty much have the top end of this engine redone. we went ahead and we replaced the distributor, you know, the intake, the carburetor, all sorts of stuff. Now, I'm hoping that the timing is about right, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to start this car for the first time in its current configuration. I have the timing light hooked up over there. We're gonna try to time this engine. I'm gonna try to do 14 degrees initial timing, somewhere between 12 and 14. We'll see if we can get it to fire off though. This distributor, there was one wire that I had to kind of make myself because it came with the wrong fitting and stuff. I had to recycle off the old wire. So we'll see if it has spark. If it does, then we should be good to go. But we're gonna find out here in a second. One way that we'll be able to tell pretty quick, Hunter will be able to tell me, is if that light, if the timing gun starts flashing, that means that we have spark. If it doesn't, then we don't.
Yep.
Keep spraying it so that way it'll stay alive until it picks up.
Not open.
Now just give it a little spritz as it starts doing in the back bowl. Probably will have to.
Keep go.
Doing in the back bowl. You gotta keep spraying it.
Yeah, just consistently. Yep. No, stop.
Did it pick up gas?
It did, but then it backfired a little
You
bit.
didn't have to spray now. It's probably backfired because the timing's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you are getting timing.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely timing. It's like advanced or I don't know what it is.
There is gas in the filter. It's just
Yeah,
it's just super low.
That's fine now. If it backfires through the carburetor, does that mean it has too much or not enough timing? We have to look that up. My phone's filming. You look that up.
Too much?
Does that mean it has too much or not enough? And then what direction adds timing? Like if I go this way a touch, we'll see what that does.
You want to try now?
I'm just gonna try it. If it gets worse, then I know I went the wrong way.
Should I be ready with this?
Timing for dummies. No, you shouldn't need it anymore.
Okay. The other direction.
Start out with that.
Sprays?
Spray Will, give me a couple shots.
Oh, well, it's not open, so.
There you go. That's worse.
Yeah, so you went this way. So
You went counterclockwise that time, but you also went like a lot. So
Whoa, okay.
Big changes.
That's, you sweeped it a lot.
Well, it's because I double moved it the same way.
Yeah.
yeah, give it. Yeah.
Give me some. Now that doesn't have coolant in it.
So we gotta move quick.
That actually looked like it was right about where I wanted it. I think it started to run. I don't know if it's
Does it run out of
running
fuel?
out of gas. It's got no more gas in here. Really?
I mean, that's
Was
about
it
as much
taken?
as it ever had, though. So, like I said, I think part of the issue.
Yeah, it seemed like it ran out of gas. Oh, good. Not done.
Alright. Keep it alive, keep it alive.
Yo.
It's leaking coolant.
Where's the leaking coolant?
Right in the toilet.
Where?
Blew out right here. Somewhere in here. This is pinched.
Where exactly did you see
I just saw it right through here. Just started coming out.
It's on
this-
video. You can take a look at the video.
Yeah, look at the video, but it is there. It was just,
You were kind of cranking on it when it did it.
All right, go ahead. So when we tried to fire this up the first time, what ended up happening is it shot coolant all over the place and ran terrible, and the fuel filter had no gas in it. So in order to fix the fuel system, we had to do one thing: put gas in the car. Turns out cars have a hard time running out without gas in the tank. The other thing that I had to do is I found out on a big block Ford, there's not one, not two, not three, but there's 6 bolts that go into the water jacket on the intake. So the reason it was shooting out gas or water everywhere was I just had to put some thread tape on 6 of the bolts, tighten it back down, tighten everything to 30 foot-pounds, and we appear, knock on all the wood, that we got rid of the leaks. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna try to start this car with gas in it and see, did we fix the stumble, and can I actually hit the gas pedal without the car stalling? So, my guess, probably not. All right, I'm gonna try to do no pumps and just crank it to life. That ain't bad. Now that is what you call throttle. All right, so we're taking this thing for the first test drive since we redid the engine, the brakes, the tires, had the ignition system go out, and it seems to be riding pretty good. Oh my gosh, the suspension is super soft and bounces all over the place. It's very smooth, but the steering is a little, how much play in steering is allowed? Because this feels like it might have more than it's allowed. So we're taking it to the exhaust shop now, and we're gonna see if we can't get the exhaust on it to make it sound a little louder. 7.8 liter V8 should be a little bit more aggressive sounding than this. Show that road. Sorry about the emblem on the front of the hood. It's a little sad looking. So we made it with a Thunderbird all the way to the exhaust shop. First test drive was a success. Let's see what it's gonna sound like when it's all done. At this point, we're gonna make this thing actually sound pretty masculine or muscular or whatever you wanna call it. Right now, see the new look, but tomorrow you'll hear the new look. Well, really in like 5 seconds. Here's a little idle exhaust note for you guys. So I just picked up the Thunderbird from the exhaust shop. I'm about to take it over to the vinyl top shop now. So this is gonna be my first time turning it on and first time hearing it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear anything with the windows up. So I'll roll them down. Oh, we have religious music playing. So how do I turn off the radio? There we go. Maybe that's a good sign. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it sounds clean. We're gonna like that a lot. So the initial notes on the exhaust, oh, it's good. It doesn't overly drone, so that's great. But when you hit the gas at all, you can hear the engine. It sounds good. I think this can be perfect what we wanted. We wanted something, we still wanted to be able to cruise it. We didn't want that annoying drone that you have with some crazy loud straight pipe. But we did want you to know that it's got a V8 in it. You know, it's got a big block. It's a big block Ford. You should be able to hear it. So far, so good. I'm gonna take it easy on the drive. Oh, there's bird poop on the windshield. I'm gonna take it easy on the drive over there, and then maybe I'll give it a couple revs so you can hear it. But I'm happy so far. Auto Plus did a great job on the exhaust. We're gonna cannonball over to the vinyl top shop because this thing needs a new vinyl top bad. I don't know if you can hear the exhaust at all, but it sounds just clean. The one thing that I think is crazy about this car It's got no vital signs. There's no oil pressure gauge. There's no temp gauge. There's no voltage gauge. You really, back in the day, just had to trust that everything was okay. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. One thing I don't like about all the shops I'm taking it to is they're all in town. And when I'm doing a lot of the early driving with these classic cars as we get them back on the road, I don't like stop and go traffic, and I don't like being around a lot of cars, because worst case, if something went wrong, I like having a good spot to pull over. I like being out in the country or something like that, to where you can not be as much of an inconvenience. Right here, driving it on the main highway around all these cars, guardrails all over the place. My God, dang. This thing does not corner well, but it does feel like you're riding on a cloud. We're bombing going 55 miles an hour. You hear the exhaust sounding good. Probably the first time in 10 plus years it's been like this. Don't love having to merge onto the highway, but it's okay. We're going 70 right now. Surprisingly all well. Get over into the right lane. So we're just about making it to the exhaust shop. We got another 2.5 miles, 6 minutes of driving. Or not the exhaust shop, sorry. We left the exhaust shop. We're just about to the vinyl top shop. Now you'll see we're not on the highway anymore. We're off. We're hitting a lot of lights, stop and go traffic. I think that's kind of like the ultimate test for a lot of these cars. This car seems to be handling it well. The roads are terrible over here, and so I'm glad to have this spongy, soft suspension. So things are going good. The brakes that we redid seem to be working well. I'm gonna go around these people. Yep. So I'm pretty happy with how things are going right now. So as we just about conclude the second long drive of this car, probably have 30-40 miles on it now. Everything is just running so smooth. All the work we did turned out great, and we're glad to get another car saved and back on the road. If you like content like this, let us know. Drop it down in the comments. We'd be happy to put some more cars back to life and get them on the road for other people. So put in the comments if you'd like to see it, anything that you'd like changed. But it's another one saved for now. Thanks for watching this episode of Running Rust.